So welcome back to another video, guys. So on today I have something a little bit more special for my drivers here. So without further ado, we're not going to really roll the intro like that or anything. We're just going to get right into it. I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but I guess Trump has basically put in a petition or whatever you want to call it, so that way he can try to get past some of this EPA stuff or whatever for his truck drivers. Not only us truck drivers, but some of the cars are actually regulated by the DEF system and things like that as well. So without further ado, let's just get right into it.
Thank you very much. But I'm pleased to be joined today by EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, who you all know, and to announce the single largest deregulatory action in American history.
So in case you guys don't know, back in 2009, when the Obama administration was in, the Democratic Party or whatever, they put in this regulation that heavily regulates us truck drivers, which pretty much doesn't allow us to do things such as delete our trucks or anything like that. And with this system being put in place, or laws being put in place to battle against this because of environmental reasons with the greenhouse gases and everything like that, what it has done to the trucking industry, it has skyrocketed truck prices, even car prices and things like that. And it affects not only us truck drivers, it affects us the most because, that's how we make our bread and butter, how we make our money on a daily basis for our family. But also for those people that are trying to purchase vehicles such as like regular cars, automotives, things like that, if you don't have the money, you're going to be using your feet. You're going to be walking because it's going to be kind of difficult to afford a vehicle. So this is going to be a special basically input from the Trump administration. I believe it's going to help everyone out. Everyone wins with this.
It's a big statement in American history, and I think we can add the words "by far." Under the process just completed by the EPA, we are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding, a disastrous Obama-era policy that severely damaged the American auto industry and massively drove up prices for American consumers. Prices went up incredibly for a worse product.
Also, I want to put in place as well. I don't know if he's going to mention this or not. When Joe Biden was in office, what they were trying to do is make everyone have a electric vehicle by a certain year. I believe that year was either 2035 or 2030, but their entire goal was to make everyone become a EV owner, even us semi-truck drivers. You know what I mean? They wanted us to be able to, go into debt for these vehicles, even though they didn't have the infrastructure to keep all these electric vehicles charged, especially for us people that are over the road or whatever the case, such as truck drivers. What use is it for us to be able to only drive like 10 hours a day and then you got to shut down and charge and things like that? Like, it doesn't really help. So especially with no infrastructure, everybody's fighting over the charging stations. Truck drivers are competing now with regular cars to charge their trucks and things. It was just overall a idiotic way for that administration to try to enforce such a thing on not only the regular American people, but like I said, the truck drivers were the most who were going to be affected by this law if they were to put it in place. So this entire administration putting this, whatever you want to call this, putting this out there to try to help us out is a big win for us. But however, that does not mean necessarily we're off the hook. So we're going to get into that as well. But I'm going to let Mr. Donald Trump finish really quick.
Action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically. You're going to get a better car. You're going to get a car that starts easier, a car that works better for a lot less money. In 2009, Barack Hussein Obama, his EPA designated fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and other things that actually make factories rock and roll and other things drive very nicely as a threat to health and human welfare, known as the endangerment finding. This determination had no basis, in fact, had none whatsoever, and it had no basis in law. On the contrary, over the generations, fossil fuels have saved millions of lives and lifted billions of people out of poverty and all over the world.
So you guys somewhat heard what he said. You know, he's trying to completely get rid of this thing, and he's trying to do the same thing with taxes as well. But that's an entirely different video. But as much as they say, you know, people should hate Donald Trump, I feel like he's trying to help some of the people who actually built this entire country, such as truck drivers. You know, nothing really gets delivered to your house. You can't get a vehicle, anything like that, without a truck driver delivering the guy. So anybody that's not a truck driver, please understand that we're pretty much the people who work a thankless job every single day. So let's read some of these regulations here. So we're just gonna read the summary. The rule summary is: on February 12, 2026, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, aka the EPA, finalized its rescission in 2009 greenhouse gas endangerment findings, which served as a prerequisite for regulating emissions for the motor vehicles and the motor vehicles and new motor vehicle engines, but they kind of worded that weird. Absent this finding, EPA lacks statutory authority under the Section 202A of the Clean Air Act to prescribe standards for the GHG emissions. Therefore, EPA also finalized the repeal of all subsequent GHG emission standards from its regulatory for light, medium, and heavy-duty on-highway vehicles and engines. So, in many other words, like I said before, when they put this law or this proposal in place back in 2009, back in the Trump era, like I said, it affected more than just truck drivers. It affects everybody. If you guys like roll up underneath your vehicle today, like if you have like a 2020 or whatever, you're probably going to see a DPF filter and all that other stuff underneath your car, you know, connected to your emissions. I don't know if you guys ever pay attention to it, but this is more so a law or proposal that was put in place by a bunch of liberals. That's all. So we're gonna read one more thing here. Right. So let me actually go into this so we can kind of break down if you can or cannot delete your vehicle. Right. So here's the article right here, the Federal Register. This is a United States government agency here, their website. And if we scroll all the way down here, I believe it's in the summary as well. Okay, so here we go. So in 2009, the EPA took the unprecedented step of asserting authority to regulate GHG emissions. Let me see. So in many other words, in this entire paragraph, you guys can take the time to read it out yourself. Just pause the video. I'm sorry. But I'm going to highlight some of the things that it says your emission system will need, like some of the things you can actually delete or whatever that's no longer being regulated by the EPA, just to clear up this entire proposal. Okay, so this proposal, they're no longer regulating carbon dioxide, CO2. They're no longer regulating methane, nitrous oxide, which is N2O, hydrofluorocarbons, which is HFC, perfluorocarbons, which is PFC, and sulfur hexafluoride. Sulfur hexafluoride, there we go, which is SF6. If you guys haven't seen anything else in here, I'm going to just tell you now. If you don't see anything that says you can delete NOx, NOx, you still can't delete your vehicle, man. So it's still pretty much be in violation if you decide to delete your vehicle now, even after all of this. Now, I don't know if they're going to make any changes or whatever the case, but so far, this is what I'm seeing here. So with all that being said, man, the big question is, can you delete your vehicle now in 2026? And my answer would be to you a resounding no. Nope. I wouldn't recommend you do it. However, you know, you're still going to get guys that do it. And even once this passes, you know, you're still going to have a bunch of states like liberal states like California. I think Georgia's more so like a swing state. Texas is more conservative. So, you know, you're still going to have states that completely appeal this decision either way it goes. So, yeah, just wanted to keep you guys updated. If you guys haven't seen any of my other videos, you know, we talk about things like news here. We fish. We talk about a lot of trucking things, as far as how to start your trucking career, all that type of stuff. And I'm a hazmat truck driver, guys. So welcome to the channel for all the new people. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, comment down below what you guys want to see next. And yeah, man, we'll keep dropping this bomb on you, like this type of news here, if you guys want to see it. So without further ado, peace. I'm out. Y'all have a blessed day.
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.